So dear, do you remember how we first met?
Yeah, during the Youth Ministry's Valentine's Day production. It's called P.S. I Love You. And you were the lead actor and I was just the bimbo sidekick.
After that, our friend Ben intro us because you were looking for a camp tutor, and at that time I just finished my A-levels.
You took H3 camp and you got A for it. I was like, I must learn from this guy.
Well, so in the end, how do you do for camp?
I didn't do very well.
Because you were totally distracted by another kind of bonding.
What was your first impression of me?
First impression, you were acting as a bimbo, and I thought you were quite natural, like sitting, chatting with the other girls, and like looking pretty and stuff.
Oh, of course.
So what was your first impression?
Oh, I remember that our first meeting was like a meeting for the actors for the production, and then you were wearing this Armani exchange bag with a very big alphabet AX, and then our friend Tam, she said very loudly to everybody like, Felix, you're wearing branded belt! And then your whole face turned red, and then you were like, no lah, fake one lah. And I thought it was very funny because I've never seen someone like flush like the whole face.
Okay, I remember when we were first friends and like we went to West Coast Park, and then we climbed this giant like pyramid to the top, and like you were going so fast all the way up, and I was slowly making my way up. Cause like you're fearless and I have like a bit of fear of heights.
Yeah, and I didn't know that you had fear of heights until we reached the top. Then I was like, oops.
Yeah, but it was nice when we were sitting on top and just chatting with each other and learning more about each other. I really like you as a person because you're someone that was like authentic and like you really value your friends. Like I remember that you will always be the one that would plan surprises and make sure that the gang will meet so that we could spend time with our friends.
Each morning, night and day, the sun and moon display the beauty.
One of the reasons we got closer was because we had the opportunity to serve in the same ministry. Very, very coincidental, we both went to audition for worship ministry around the same time. So after that we had a lot of chance to serve during the weekend services. One of your key characteristics when you worship is your eyes will be sharp tight and you will never open it. Super passionate.
Well, I've always been very proud of you because at some point you were made to have to lead people to sing from stage, and at that point you were very nervous and insecure. Yeah, but you knew that you wanted to serve God in that way, and so you went ahead just to do.
Yeah, I think our relationship was never easy because like our personalities are very, very different. So there were a lot of things that we had to work through.
Yeah, very true. Like the later it gets in the day, the more energetic you become. But for me, like I become like a zombie at times. Yeah, and I remember most of our dates always had to get cut short because of that.
Yeah, and the worst thing is because I'm a time person, so when you were very tired at night, I felt like we didn't have enough quality time together. Yeah. But I'm very thankful that throughout these 7 years, you have always been very consistent, to your love for God and your commitment for serving. Yeah, and it's something that now I really, really look up to, and it really inspires me to want to do the same.
I guess like we're both not perfect people, and so like there's always a reason to argue about something or to have a heated discussion. And I remember God was always teaching me how to love you better by just putting aside my pride and saying sorry. In those times when we argue, I would just say a simple prayer, and God would just remind me to just say sorry, and that always helps.
The most difficult things for us in our relationship is you are a very non-expressive person, whereas I'm like the exact opposite. So I remember like for like a lot of special occasions and like dates, I always get quite upset when like you don't plan surprises.
I thought it was like a process for us, like learning how to love each other in a way that makes sense for the other person. And so along the way, I think I picked up some art and craft skills
Yeah.
and like Google a lot to find out about date ideas. Yeah.
What I value about you more is how you are very steadfast and very honest and very sincere and it doesn't matter whether there's like romance in our relationship. Yeah, because I just know that you will always love me regardless of whether you do these things or not.
There was a season where, due to the nature of your work, you would have to sometimes work late nights or there will be sudden activations. And I remember that was a difficult time for us because it was straining on you emotionally. Yeah, and for me, like I couldn't fully empathize or understand what you're going through. Yeah, and the emotions that came along with it. But I had to, slowly learn how to ask you, to hear you out, even when I didn't understand. Yeah, and I think like looking ahead, there will be such seasons that will come again. Yeah, moments where we like need to learn how to support each other and to just be there for each other.
And I think it ties in very nicely with the verse that we chose to put on our wedding invitation card. We love because he first loved us. Yeah, I think it wouldn't have been possible for us to be together for so long if not for God's love. And really over the years, God taught us how to love each other, not just with the love that we have, but with the love that God has given to us. Yeah, and one of the things that I really look forward to when we get married is that we will always love and serve God together as we grow old together.
Me too then.